Jimmy McCallion found the net. Goal for Wednesday.
Terrific goal by Shayna.
Chris Waddle, is he going to have a crack?
Oh, he does, and it's goal. Still Glenn Wheeler. Hayden Fred wrecks the goal. It's the time for a winner.
Stop the count. Bannan staying. Panic over. HMS Pistol League is about to set sail. Hello and welcome to Wednesday Tie-Dye Podcast. I'm James Mappin. Alongside me, back from his golfing holiday, discreetly disguised as a family vacation to Portugal, is Mr. Matt Johnson. Matt, how's things, mate? You all right?
Harsh, James. Harsh, but fair. Very fair.
Wait a minute. You were there for 7 days and you played how many rounds of golf?
Yeah, 3 rounds of golf, mate. Yeah, to be fair, he's harsh, but he is fair. Yeah, it is fair.
Fully refreshed from your week away?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there will be people who are listening who have also holidayed with their child who is under the age of 10. Refreshed, I would say not so much. But yeah, it was a really, really nice break, mate, away with the family. Yeah, really good.
Other than the altercation with the rocks in the sea.
So aside from that, I'm really pleased you brought that one up, mate. Yeah, really, really, really glad for that. Yeah. So where we were was just outside Villamora, and there was like a load of coral going out into the sea, and my lad, 5 years old, still thinks, you know, the sea is full of sharks and octopuses that will come and grab him at any opportunity. So we paddled out, and there was this little coral rock, and like on top of it was another coral rock, and I was like, right, well, we'll just sit on here, mate. Look, come here. And literally the minute I put him on my lap, I just heard, and I thought, oh shit. Started going backwards, held him up in the air to make sure that he didn't go underwater, stood up, and yeah, looked like I'd been bitten by a shark. So yeah, it was my legs in great nick, mate.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, isn't it? That's one of those things. You go through a nice, relaxing week away, and then you come back with half your leg missing. But anyway,
yeah, absolutely.
They don't say that on the Jet 2 advert, do they?
No,
anyway.
they don't, but ironically, I've seen people throwing chairs at people by swimming pools. I've seen people throwing up over other people. I've seen people fighting. So I thought I got off lightly personally.
You probably did. Loads of people in the comments, as always. Daz says, evening all, great news about Bannan. Yes, we'll be talking about him in a second. George, get the statue built for Baz instead of the golden elephants. Mark, good evening from a sunny Dominican. Not jealous at all. Yeah, I would be a bit more polite, but yeah, I do agree. G says, love the intro there. Yes, you would have seen it on Wednesday if people were tuning on Wednesday, or last week for the extra time, because it got sent to me during this show last Sunday. So new intro for the new season, of course. Harley says, impeccable song choice on the intro. Bones by the Sherlocks, if anyone's wondering. Jordan, set sail. Tony says, nice shirt. Yeah, it's a podcast shirt, this one. It's not a Celtic shirt, as G says. It is based on the 89 away. I want to say it is 89, isn't it? I think it is.
I don't know, James. I know the original is one that I'm desperately after and desperate for us to make a remake of. I've still got my fingers crossed that my third shirt is going to arrive this week with that particular pattern on.
Well, this is actually limited edition because you can't get it anymore, Matt. So this is a limited edition shirt. So there's only about, I think, 60, 70 people that actually have this shirt. So it's all right. It's okay. First of all, I just want to say, massive thanks to all the comments from a couple of media appearances on Friday. Firstly, Talk Sport, they messaged me on Thursday evening saying they're going to be talking about Sheffield Wednesday and can I go on, which obviously, yes, I will gladly. I'd rather not. I'd rather not be talking about this whole situation. But this is where we are. So, the more people that know about it, the better. And then, I was on ITV News on the Friday evening. I got a message on Instagram about 12:15 asking for my number. Don't worry, it's.
But your missus is thrilled.
Yeah, she said where she was. She said she went from ITV News. So, she did actually explain it. It wasn't just, hey.
Oh yeah, who've you got this saved as?
Yeah, it weren't anything like that. But so she rang and they said, "Oh, can you? Are you up for coming on ITV News?" I was like, "Yeah, not a problem. When?" She went, well, can you get down to Hillsborough now? And I was like, now? Like, thinking, well, I'll see what I can do. So, next 5 minutes later, I was like, rang back. Yeah, I'll be on my way. Never got down to Hillsborough so fast in my entire life. Got down there. And yeah, well, I'm sure most people have seen it. It's always funny as well because you're talking for a good 5 or 10 minutes, and then and then obviously you remember what you're actually going on, and it's just a news bulletin, and you're going to be on the screen for about 5 seconds, which is exactly what it was. But you know what? Finally, Matt, like the national media are actually taking stock and taking notice of our plight. Some say perhaps 2 or 3 or 4 months a little bit too late, but they are starting to talk about it quite a lot. I think the trust are going on BBC Breakfast. I think tomorrow as well. So we're going to be talking about that there. So yeah, there's more and more of these media outlets are picking it up now, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely, James. I would also like to add on another one who has been another person who will be on national media coverage tomorrow. There is a young Sheffield Wednesday fan, Sam Davis, who will be on the BBC Radio 1 and 1 Extra news bulletin at around half 12. That was based off a message that I think it was you received, who passed it on to me. I spoke to Shay from Shay's Triathlons. I spoke to his dad, and he passed it on to a lad called Sam, who was absolutely thrilled to do it. He's been down outside the South Stand today recording a piece there. So yeah, please, if you can give that a listen, because from everything I've been told about Sam, he's a wonderfully insightful young man, and again deserves the opportunity and deserves the spotlight shone on him.
Yeah, definitely. So if I can get a clip of that, I will do, and I'll try and share it if we can. But yeah, I think, Matt, the fact that the game over the weekend, it was supposed to be playing against Burnley, that obviously got postponed. The fact that the Leicester game could potentially be called off as well. I think that's probably the straw that's broke the camel's back in terms of getting this like national coverage, because that's kind of the piece that they keep coming back to, which fair play to the players really for doing that. I don't think they were thinking, right, if I do this, Sky Sports News will put me on. I don't think that's what they were thinking. They're clearly doing it because of the situation, and they want it to be resolved, and they feel that that's the only way necessary. But it's took. I suppose it's a bit sad. It's took something like this, not just for the media coverage, but just for it that it's actually got to this stage, Matt.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I did really appreciate Jamal Lowe hanging out the window of a Range Rover like Harry Redknapp on Friday.
Sitting there checking over his shoulder every 2 minutes, thinking Desmond Chansiri is going to be here with slashing his tyres or something. Or
I did really appreciate that. But you're right, James. It takes, and I think I know we're going to go into it in a little bit on the later pod, but I do think it's worthwhile echoing kind of the point again now. It's really admirable and commendable that the players have taken the stand that they have in regards to this weekend's last and penultimate pre-season fixture away at Burnley, which for a professional footballer, that last game before your league season starts, is really pivotal to making sure that your legs are fully underneath you, irrespective of what people think of this pre-season. That 90 minutes or 120 minutes or however long that is, that may well have been, we don't know what the coaching setup was like under the previous manager. That may have actually been Henrik Pedersen's first game in charge of Sheffield Wednesday and a Sheffield Wednesday 11. So actually for them and him and the coaching staff that are there currently to have taken a stand and agreed that this is the right thing to do. And we'll see what happens in the coming week in regards to obviously the Leicester fixture. I'm genuinely, as a fan, I only speak for myself here, I am 100% behind whatever the players decide to do. They've had an incredibly tough time. And I think I know we're going to come on to talk about Barry Bannan, but the fact that he has spoke on behalf of not only the squad, but also the staff who work at the club and said people are looking to him, I think as a fan base, we just have to get behind them. It is really sad that it's come to it, but I am really, really pleased that players are taking a stand.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen one person say that they shouldn't do what they've done. The fact that it's 4 months out of 5 that they've been paid late, and as it stands now, some of them, to my knowledge, still haven't been paid. Like certainly for this month, I did find that quite funny. I mean, it's funny, you know what I mean. Yeah, the fact that they've not been paid, and then all of a sudden, it comes out that the Burnley game's been cancelled, and then lo and behold, some of the players have now been paid. Like the fact that happens so quickly from them being told that they're not going to get paid, to then literally 2 days later, because they've said that's it, I'm not playing this game at the weekend, and then it's a bit of a a bit of a spike in the coverage and stuff. All of a sudden, all right, yeah, he's paid some of them. Obviously, we don't know who the players are that have been paid or not, but yeah, it's just funny how that happens. And he doesn't have money, and then all of a sudden he's found a 50 quid down back at sofa.
It's just par for the course, isn't it, really, in terms of the players who have been paid? We don't know who they are. You would expect the ones who have been paid are ones that are assets and hold monetary value towards the football club. It's a ridiculously sad state of affairs, but I can honestly say that nothing surprises me with this chairman and the ownership at this point in time, James.
Yeah, before we could delve deeper into like the unpaid wages and games in doubt and all stuff like that, I did put a tweet out earlier. The tweet simply read, not the band, I would rather have blank as owner of Sheffield Wednesday instead of Depon Chansiri. Now, I've got to be careful here because some of these people that people have mentioned, I don't have a clue who they are. So I could be getting myself into some tricky water. So it could have been a really funny one and it could have been really good. I'm going to steer clear of the ones I don't know, just for try not be getting myself in some sticky water. So I mean, I know this guy Ronald McDonald is what Katie says. I definitely know who he is. Roger's gone with the Teletubbies. Rob says Keir Starmer. He'd rather have Keir Starmer as the owner. Andrew says Mr. Blobby. Darren also wants Mr. Blobby as well. Well, not once, but would rather
have of the two.
You'll appreciate this one. Andrew's gone for Brian Potter.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. There's a man you can trust.
Steve, of course. I mean, to be fair, if it carries on, it might be this person, Doris the tea lady. Rumble in Jungle's gone for Noddy. There's Mr. Bean. There's obviously the Owl.
There's a lot of it. There's a lot of children's character references here, which gives you some level. It gives you some level of.
As I mentioned, there are other ones, but I have had to not read them out. So if you want to check them all out at WTID Pod, you're probably already following anyway. Have a look for yourself. There's some absolutely belters. Thomas said, "Leave it blank. Anyone else will do."
Fairs. Best comment.
Exactly. So, like I said, I'll not read anymore. I've been scrolling. I can't read any of those out at all. It is becoming a bit of a common occurrence now, this not paying the wages. And I said this, a couple of weeks ago and stuff. I've certainly said this when I've been, when I've talked to Talk Sport and stuff, how, like, in isolation, it should be really, really shocking what is happening. For example, the non-payment of wages should be not a wow moment, but a really big moment. Like, that should never happen. It's now just kind of just like you said, par for the course really at the moment now.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible that as a football fan of a club, I am becoming desensitized to the fact that we're knocking on for near enough half a year without actually paying players and staff on time. It's honestly, it is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. We've spoken. I think I've gone through I am still incredibly angry when you find out that players, no matter what level, whether they are first team, whether they are youth team, haven't been played. And I am still incredibly, incredibly upset and fearful for the staff members at the club when they haven't been paid every single time. But at the moment, with everything that is coming out of the club, add that to the list, of absolutely disgraceful, shameful, abhorrent behaviour displayed by the chairman. And it is just becoming now, I expect it. I don't expect him to pay wages on time because that would be bucking the trend at this point in time, because we've heard so little coming out of the football club in the last 4 or 5 months that has been even remotely positive, aside from obviously the news that we're coming on to discuss later on this evening. What else can you expect? Like, legitimately, what more do you expect? I expect an owner to pay wages on time, but I know he's not going to. And I know he's only going to partially pay wages, or he's only going to pay players who he sees as having some sort of monetary value or monetary gain to himself. It's horrible. It's absolutely disgusting, James.
Yeah, I mean, obviously when we were kind of thinking, Christ, he might be getting to the point where he can run the football club, not sustainable, but we were always talking about when's that TV money coming. Apparently we got told that that's not a thing. Well, TV money is a thing, but it doesn't come in one fell swoop. Apparently, it comes like every month is so much coming in. So he's not going to get a big windfall of money, suddenly dropping on his doorstep. And also, the EFL have said that they're going to withhold money from the club in order to pay some of the debtors as well. My understanding is that has already happened, and that the likes of Southampton, Brighton, Hull, Norwich, they're certainly the ones that we know of. They've already been paid, but the EFL can't withhold money and send it to any of the overseas clubs. So you can go back through the transfers that we've had over the past couple of seasons. I mean, you can add Jedi Gassama, you can add Anthony Musaba to that as well. I know. Again, all the transfers are always undisclosed. You never know exactly what the amount is that's being paid, and stuff like that. More on that in a second. But yeah, it would not surprise me if there's many other clubs that are owed money. And also, it came out this week, Matt, which something that I have been saying many a times is players and HMRC. You have to report that. They're the last ones that you're not going to pay, and it's come out now that there's a lot of other businesses that have not been paid. We speculated that. Now they've actually come forward. Don't know who they are, but they've actually come forward and actually said that as well. So yeah, you could see that coming from a mile off, couldn't you, Matt?
The one that really the tax man and all the rest of it is disgusting, and it's not on. But again, you would argue that is part of that football ecosphere, alongside kind of like wages of players and staff and all the rest of it. Small businesses who support this football club, who have perhaps paid money for sponsorships, who have perhaps had their services or goods used by the club in, off the back of goodwill. We've spoken to a number of people who have said, if a football club comes knocking and asks you to do something and you support them, you're probably going to give them not only a discount, you're probably going to bend over backwards to make sure that work is completed as soon as possible. The fact that we still owe money to these type of individuals. I don't know any of the businesses who are involved, but let's say it's a company that's been used to give, I don't know, the South Stand or the Cop or the Leppings Lane end, or I would say the North, but the North's not been fucking touched. A lick of paint on the inside on like the corridors or touch-ups, and you've just fobbed them off and fucked them off from paying them. That'll be something that potentially is weighing over their head. And is something that they're waiting for in terms of a windfall. It's just.
Well, the thing is in the industry, like and work gets done, the invoice gets sent in, and then there's normally like a payment of like 30 days or something like that, and then the money gets paid at the end of that. So yeah, you're right. Like now, like nobody's going to do any work at all until. That's probably why no work's been started on the North Stand at the moment, to my knowledge. I've heard rumours that something has started, but I was outside the ground the other day, the Friday, and didn't look like anything. I mean, look, I didn't climb up there and have a look myself, but they weren't. You'd like to think there would be some sort of van or some.
Someone on a lunch break. Apologies to anybody who works in a trade, but you would have expected somebody. You would have expected somebody to have been around. Like
I can just imagine him. I can just imagine them recreating the. Is it when they're building the Empire State Building when they're sat on that like girder with the little metal lunch boxes? Or it must be Empire State Building or something like that. Anyway, I've just got visions of that sat on the top of like the cantilever stand at some point eating the sandwiches whilst they're fixing it. But yeah, I mean. Obviously, this talk that the game against Leicester might not go ahead and things like that. In your opinion, Matt, do you think it'll get that far? And also, I suppose the other question would be, do you want it to get that far? Do you want the game to be postponed because the players have gone on strike?
I'm torn, James, if I'm completely honest. Again, as I said right at the top of this, to be clear, I'll back players on whatever decision they decide to make on the first game of the season and any subsequent games that come as a result. My personal feeling is that we as a fan base have to and should do. Do I want them to do so? I think it's a hell of a statement. I think it is a hell of a statement, and something that is unprecedented in English football would be, say, for argument's sake, I know some people have floated this idea around of the game kicking off and players just simply packing their bags and fucking off down the tunnel. you are going to really fuck up Sky's scheduled program for the next 2 hours, and all they're left to talk about is the incident that's happening on the football pitch and why and everything. And that is far bigger than anything anybody else will do. The trade-off to it is I am one of the 3,000 odd who will be travelling down to Leicester. And do I think that those players deserve to hear, irrespective of scoreline, because I know we'll come on to the game later. That don't fucking matter. I think the players deserve to hear 90 minutes of backing from an away end, of unrivaled, ridiculous levels of support that I would probably suggest that we have seen occasionally at Sheffield Wednesday.
I think it's gonna be like a siege mentality this season, because I certainly think there's going to be, when we're there, that is.
Can you, James? I mean this really seriously. Can you imagine, just for a second, just allow yourself to think of the fucking bodies in that away end next week if we go 1-0 up? Legit, there will be just a sea of arms, legs, people everywhere.
Sorry to break it for you, Matt. I've just seen the goal that Leicester scored against Fiorentina earlier. So
ain't gonna fucking happen. Let's be honest.
I know where you're coming from, though.
But that's what I mean, James. Is I think I am completely torn on it. I think that there are rules, regulations surrounding. Players need to do, I think it's give some level of notice to the EFL about it. Otherwise, they
can't. The EFL.
Well, that is another conversation, because I think players refusing to turn up is one thing. Like refusing to go or travel down to the game is one thing. I am of the opinion that if you are going to make a stand, the stand that you should be taking is act as if you are going to play the game and then just fuck off. Because for my money, I've been, I would say, kind on the EFL based off the advice that I've been given by other people, such as Kieran Maguire, obviously, when we've discussed things with him. My reading of this is I currently at this point in time am of a similar opinion to, I think, some Reading fans, not all. What the fuck does the EFL do? Yeah. Like at this point in time, what does the EFL do? I know they're bound by the rules and regulations that are set out by the owners who make those rules and regulations. But effectively, the way I kind of squared it away in my head when I was thinking about this today was they're a teacher who has lost control of a classroom of 30 kids and they don't know how to get it back. Yeah. And they are just sat there and kids are going, fuck you, we'll do what we want. And that teacher is basically, no, please don't burn it down. Don't throw that chair through the window. Oh, no, you've done it. Like, I don't understand currently the purpose of what the EFL or the FA, even to a degree. The PFA, it's very obvious they're there to help the players and they have come out, backed and supported the players. The EFL is supposed to, on the surface of it, be there to protect the clubs. Actually, it's not. It's there to protect the self-serving ownership.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been thinking ever since last Wednesday when the trust spoke out about the EFL. I think they got the wrist slapped a little bit from what they said, but fair play for coming out and actually saying it, which again just shows you the situation that we're in. People are thinking, you know what, don't really care anymore. Like, I'm gonna come out and say it because something needs to be said. And it was the comment of they feel like the financial situation is better now as of kind of, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, than it was previously. And I'm thinking, I'm trying to think, like, how have they come to that conclusion to think that, because yes, like the wage bill has been dramatically reduced, but there's no sign of like where his money's coming from, because you wouldn't get to the point where you're not paying the players. Like the money's not coming. You haven't got a cash reserve somewhere to just all your personal wealth that you could just use to do it. Surely you would, because then you're thinking, right, I'll get my house in order, and then the money that I'll pay myself back at a later day when that money does end up coming in. If it is a cash flow issue that he keeps talking about. But that's not happened because constantly we're having to sell players in order to do that. Great. The money we got for Gassama, however much money that's going to be. I know people are going to say it's 2.2 million, but let's find out exactly how much that money did land in the bank account. Masaba as well, the 800 grand and all these other bits of money. The the Keelan Cole Cadamartry money as well. It's all ran out already. Again, like literally, we've sold, three of the assets, and we haven't got many more left either. And that money's also run out, because if we still had some, it'd have, we wouldn't be in this situation again, would we? And we wouldn't, we wouldn't have the embargo over his head, and that Barry Bannan would have signed a lot sooner than what he actually did, because we wouldn't have that. I mean, just on the EFL, Matt, like, do you like what do you think they should have done more of? What could they have done, like, to in your opinion? I mean, it's a bit of a broad sweeping statement, I guess.
It is a broad sweeping statement, James. I personally think, again, it's better the devil you know, isn't it? Because everything I'm going to say sounds like revisionist history here of like, we should have paid attention when this happened and we should have done this. First and foremost, I think we know the independent football regulator can't come soon enough. One way or another, no matter what level of legislative power or whatever side of the fence that you sit on with the independent football regulator, that can't come soon enough for the case of Sheffield Wednesday. But as we heard from the Trust on Wednesday night, they're not going to come in with like a magic wand and wave it inside of a week of whoever it is being in office and just all of our problems miraculously disappear. That isn't going to happen. They're not going to come and save us in the immediacy. What do I think the EFL should have done? I think the EFL should... I, again, personally feel that the EFL should be looking at the Reading situation previously and gone, right, this was horrendous levels of like bad publicity for us. We need to learn from this, and we need to go out right now, because it was right at the end of the season, wasn't it? We need to go out right now to all of these owners and say the level of publicity that the league, that the other clubs, and that in particular Reading have received about this, and the mass swell of kind of supporters' feelings towards it, means that we are going to need to make adjustments and amendments to our fit and proper persons test. We haven't got a long time to turn it round, because the new season is upcoming, and we actually want it in play for that new season. That should have been surrounding if a club enters into multiple embargoes, not just one, maybe two, then the person who is in charge needs to be able to show that they are fit and proper to run this club again. And it's almost like resitting that. And we know that test is a joke, and we know that test is an absolute shambles. But at this point in time, I agree with Liam's comment here. The EFL only care about fulfilling fixtures.
Yep.
That is all it comes across as, because the statement wasn't, we are deeply concerned about the financial situation surrounding Sheffield Wednesday. Because do you remember when all this first started kicking off, James? Every statement that came out from that particular body was, we're deeply concerned about the situation at Sheffield Wednesday. We've contacted the owner for further guarantees or assurances or whatever. All of that rhetoric stopped now. What we're now hearing is the EFL is deeply concerned about Sheffield Wednesday being unable to fulfill fixtures for the upcoming season.
Yeah, I mean, it's my understanding as well that the owners of football clubs have to kind of prove to the EFL, I know they do the fit and proper test, but then kind of on an annual basis got to prove where the funds are coming from. And then obviously the Trust have actually written an open letter, haven't they, to the EFL? Yeah. And one of those questions is, what does the EFL know about the sources of funding by which Depon Chansiri has operated during his ownership? What are his sources of funding? And I find it, again, so mad, so bizarre that fans of a football club do not know where the money comes from for the owner of that football club. I just find, and an owner that's been here 10 years as well. It's not like he's just tipped up like last week. He's been here 10 years and we have no idea. Again, I know people are going to be saying to me, it's construction this, it's tuna that. Like, we actually don't know definitively.
No, definitively. And I've just highlighted this comment from Coops whilst you've been just talking there, James, which says the whole issue is a complete lack of transparency and communication. And we are used to that with the football club. We're used to the football club operating in that way. The governing body who operates and runs the league in which the club's playing shouldn't be. They should be as transparent as they can possibly be. Why? Because it gains trust of supporters. And without fans, this football league, you might as well just go and watch any fucking Saturday football that you can get your hands on. Because the only reason this league and that particular body is as successful and has gained as much notoriety, the Championship is the fifth most watched league in the world, as they keep reminding us. They keep reminding us that it's crazy on all of the adverts that are going out at the minute, this mad league, anything can happen. Currently, there is one certainty. in the Championship. That certainty is whoever Sheffield Wednesday are playing on Saturday, they get 3 points. That's not a fair and competitive league, because there has to come a point, like really seriously, and I know Reading fans experience this as well, and Rotherham to a degree, but Rotherham weren't in a financial trouble. There has to come a point. Shit. Yeah, they were just shit. But there has to come a point where genuinely they look at that points total that Rotherham got and think Sheffield Wednesday might not even get 7 points close to that. They genuinely might not get to 15, because that is where I am currently sat now. And that's not for want of trying. That is for, we've got 15 players. just quickly while you brought it up, because I sit here and I've been asked by various other podcasts, like, can you do your little prediction thing for where you're going to finish? And I'm like, yeah, plumb last, 24th. Yeah, every single time. I've not changed it once. I've not even looked at any of the other clubs. I just know that we will be bottom. But then I keep thinking to myself, like, will it actually be that bad? Like, are we just being like overly negative? I mean, I know the situation is absolutely terrible, but do you know what I mean? Like, this is like a little part of me that thinks, and I sounds really stupid even saying it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's just me, the optimist in me that just thinks like, can they actually, like, James, do better than what we think? I don't know. James, on paper, the 11 is competitive. By September, the 11 that we are able to put out due to injuries, suspensions, or whatever won't be.
I mean, it's funny as well when you look at it. When you're right what you're saying. The 11 that we've got looks okay, but then you look at the injury records. You look at them. Why don't we see them players last season? Oh yeah, Shalabar injured, Kabatske injured. Deshaun Bernard. I mean, he's injured. Not even going to make the start of the season at the moment.
Bailey Cadamartri injured. Liam Palmer injured.
Yeah,
like Max Lowe injured, Jan Valery injured.
Yeah, they've all. I mean, I know quite a lot of footballers do pick up injuries, but when you've got a squad, you can kind of sort it out. I mean, we have problems with a full 25-man squad with injuries. Chronic injuries every single year. What we're going to be like when we've got the kids that are subject to this sort of the games that they're going to be having to play and stuff like that. It's going to be absolutely terrible.
Sorry, James. Just before you move on, I cannot stress this enough. The 11 on paper is not a million miles away from the 11 that we had last year. It's not. Yes, okay, we've lost Jedi Kasama, arguably the club's best talent that was on the pitch last year. We've lost Josh Windass. We've lost Michael Smith, which is 20-odd, 30, close to knocking onto 25 goals out of your team immediately. Callum Patterson as well. Okay, I understand that. But the 11 on the pitch that can go out, in theory, against Leicester next week can be a competitive Championship squad. The issue is not one game. The issue is when you get into October, November, December, January, February, and we are still under embargoes and at present still under this ownership, you will not be competitive in those games where it is 3 games in 7 days. You just won't be. Like, it's not possible. There's a reason why you are allowed to carry a 25-man squad, and it is for that reason.
Yeah, exactly. Adam says the EFL don't care. Jason, a bit stronger word in here. EFL not worth the wank. Got one from Dalbster, LCFC 92. Me as Leicester fan don't care about the score. All I'm hoping is that you manage to get a team and your club survives this. I mean, the fact that you've got other rival fans tuning in this evening. Got one from Demps Racing. The EFL and the FA are just sat watching. And Ben said, by turning up, then going on strike, it's live on Sky in the Super Sunday slot going round the world. The fact it's got ... probably means that there was a question before that as well, which I've missed. But anyway, I do agree. It is in that prime slot, in it 4:00 on Sunday. So I bet the Sky are shitting the pants, for want of a better phrase. That's going to happen.
Yeah, I think if you're a presenter who's there or a commentator, I think you're probably shitting yourself for thinking, how do I fill the airtime? I think if you are one of the directors, you are rubbing your hands together thinking, if they walk off, this honestly might be the most highly tuned into 30 minutes we see in the division all season.
We thought that the Peterborough game, which when that was happening, obviously we was there, we was in it, but so many people were like, it were all on Twitter, WhatsApp groups were going mental, like, get that game on, like something's happening in this game. That'll be another one of those moments that everyone will be like, oh my God, like, well, people will be tuning in anticipation that it's going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, are they going to be there or not? Are they going to, it's going to be the talk of the footballing community.
I think just before we move on, James, because I know we've got a lot to get through tonight. The other thing was
understatement.
Fucking hell. It's been a quiet week, isn't it? The other thing was about the planned protest beforehand. Because there is, for those who haven't seen it, the Sheffield Wednesday Supporters Trust have put out a planned protest. The planned protest is to not take your seat until 5 minutes after kickoff, which you may see no football, unlucky. But there is a 5 minutes where you are being asked to remain in the concourse or outside the ground until 5 minutes has gone in the game, and then try and take your seats. Please, if anybody is taking part in that, please just be respectful. Those gangways get very busy very quickly when everyone's trying to get to a seat.
Well, the other thing that I think is great to point out, they have actually talked with Leicester City as well in regards to this. So you'd like to think that kind of everyone will be on board with it all. They're not going to try and get people in and tell people to go to the seats and stuff like that. Maybe open the gangways, the gates and stuff, and so people can actually be outside and inside at the same time. I have been to the King Power, but a very long time ago when it was the Walkers Stadium. It was the game where Chris Brunt and Glenn Whelan scored those.
Oh, what a game!
Belters.
What a game!
Yeah, the 4-1, 4-1. I want to say, we were in the yellow kit. We were.
Mark Crosley was wearing that like silver fish kind of coloured. That fish kind of coloured keeper's kit, and got wrong-footed. But
what fish did Mark Crossley look like on that day? Was he a bream or a
maybe? I don't know.
I
know he had them fucking leggings on. I know that.
Oh yes, yeah, he did, yeah. But no, in all seriousness, though, I think it's a great shout, and obviously, they even point out on the. I'll not read it all out. You can find it. It's on the Trust socials, SWFC Trust on X. They put, whilst we're fully aware stronger action is required this season, we do not feel this is the correct fixture, but the opportunity for nationwide coverage is too good to miss. Further details, stronger action against our home game against Stoke will be provided very soon. So yeah, I do agree. I think it is, when it comes to strikes and stuff, you'll get the odd comment, I'm sure, people saying, well, that's not going to do anything, but it's with kind of protests and stuff, it has to be visual to kind of make an impact. And obviously when you have got, the opening game of the season, Leicester City, I mean, I don't know what their attendances have been like or going to be like, but you'd like to think they are fairly well represented. And then you'll see the section where we're supposed to be and nobody in it, which will, the cameras will be on it. They'll be talking about it on the, on the commentary and stuff like that. If it even gets to that stage, there might not be a game that we're playing. But no, fair play to the Trust. I know they're doing a hell of a lot of work. I also want to point out as well, just a massive thanks to everyone that's donated to that kind of like the funds and stuff. I think over 10 grand in a day. Yeah, nearly £11,000 at the moment, which is absolutely mental. How much people have kind of put, to this to actually, I think it's money for like the people that haven't been paid. Support unpaid workers where we can, organise protest activities, and then also campaigning for positive change. But it's you can say what you want about Sheffield Wednesday fans, but my oh my, when the chips are down, we do come to the fore, don't we, Matt?
Yeah, it's a hell of a war chest to go to battle with. And I think as somebody who is a big supporter of the Sheffield Wednesday Trust and things that they are trying to do, I admit they don't get everything right, but no organisation is. And then
the voluntary, Matt. Also, you, as supporting a football club, you don't expect to be in this situation. It's not. It's not something that you plan for. They're not sitting around these meetings that they have kind of pre this situation going, if this happens, we need to do this. Again, the voluntary, all these people. It's it's one of those, isn't it? Like once you've gone through it, you're then better prepared if it happens again. But it probably won't happen again. Hopefully not. But it's just exactly just one of those scenarios, isn't it?
Yeah, and also I think the other thing that needs to be applauded is the financial backing from the supporters. Because one thing that Sheffield Wednesday fans can never be accused of is when push comes to shove. I know Yorkshire has a reputation for being tight-fisted bastards, but there is a hell of a lot of support for the cause and for the people who have been impacted, and trying to make as much of a visual statement and obviously as much of an impact as possible. So yeah, I think it's incredible what's been done there over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I was going to bring this comment up. It was a comment made earlier. 1988, 1990 away shirt, guys, and a classic shirt in the green and white. Love it. It's a great version that you're wearing. That's from the Wednesday Warehouse. Do go and check them out down in Kelham Island. I haven't been down yet.
10 till 2 Sundays. 10 till 2 Sundays.
That's the one. Jordan says ITV News will be trying to hire Matt next with his professional research. Brings me on nicely to this next bit. Mr. Amadu Paxo. Mike, spent pretty much all of your holiday when you weren't on the golf course. Although I'm sure you were thinking about it when you were, knocking that 6-footer in. But yeah, I mean, people will have already watched it at some point today. I think nearly 10,000 people have done so. But yeah, you've done a piece on the mysterious Amadu Paxo and kind of what he does at Sheffield Wednesday. First of all, actually, I just want to say a massive thanks for doing all that. I mean, I've edited it. I've gone through it about 14 times in its entirety. Well, it feels like it anyway. But no, the tremendous work. A lot of digging around and unearthing news articles from the past 10, 15 years, however long it's been. I suppose the beauty of the internet, really, it's on there and it's readily available. But for those that haven't seen it, Matt, do go and watch it. But what can you tell people about it?
It was a look into all of the publicly information available about Amadu, coupled with opinions of some people, some hypothesizing and theorizing. The honest answer is, James, much like every quote unquote special that we put out, take what you want from it, agree, disagree. The purpose of it, like every other one of those kind of episodes that we've done, is to facilitate a discussion amongst the fan base, who, I include myself in this, for far too long we've just sat on our hands idly and accepted the shit. That was all it was designed to do. I think Mr. Paxo is a character who everybody is well aware of with Sheffield Wednesday, and he's been synonymous with the football club for the last 10 years. But we haven't really seen too much coverage of him in recent time. And it was something where Nicest Will in the World had some time to be able to sit and go through, because the information is patchy, I would say. It's dotted around in several different articles and different sources and videos and articles that you can find online. It was, I personally, I thought it was something that needed to be done and said. Yeah,
I mean, did you know much of that stuff beforehand, or was it kind of born out of you just being quite curious as to what he does, basically? Or
I think honest answer is, James, I think it was mainly that. I think there's been so much focus on the chairman from ourselves and from everybody else surrounding Sheffield Wednesday. I thought there's got to be somebody else who's knows what's been going on, and actually we don't know a lot about the other person who first sprang to mind, which was Amadu Paxo. The only thing that I did know was that he was the personal advisor to the chairman, and that he had originally come to the club as a representative, I think, of Doyen Sports Group. That was the only thing that I knew, because and that was something that, I will be completely honest, was completely and totally fresh to my mind again, where one of those pieces of information where you go, oh shit, yeah, that did come from there, didn't it? Because it's very easy to just think that he appeared just at Sheffield Wednesday, because Doyen are no longer a company and they're no longer involved in football or with Sheffield Wednesday. So when you started piecing it all together from bits and pieces surrounding articles, it was, it was, if nothing else, really interesting information that I think is useful to a fan base to be reminded of.
Yeah, I just want to point out as well, it's not something being sat on, kind of waiting to release. You'll see that the backdrop was kind of what it's like now. So it had the Pervaders shirt in there, which had not been there for that long. Also had other items in the background as well, which was being pointed out multiple times. But also as well, this was just kind of last week, a week and a half ago. You was like, I'm just gonna do this whilst I'm away. I'm gonna record it when I come back, and we just try to get it out as quickly as we possibly can, just to kind of it is anyone can do the research, can't they? Anyone can piece it all together. You've not kind of it's all there. It's all in articles, which I think you've obviously cited and stuff like that. But yeah, before I just read some more comments out, I just want to bring this one up from Lewis. How many times have you been tweeted saying David Bates?
I knew there'd be one that'd get people. And I was trying to think obscure, but yeah, that was a belter. I have been tweeted David Bates. I think by the video went live at 7 o'clock this morning, didn't it? I think by 7:10, I'd had 20 messages, which was David Bates.
I know.
So yeah. But yeah, it really made me smile today.
Definitely. Matt said, I sent Matt's research to DC. His response was hilarious. I presume that was on LinkedIn. Duncan, great video. Matt, Adam, Paxo video was great. Alex, great video info. Amber says, I watched Matt's report this morning, watched it twice as it's rather complicated. Personally, I think you've got an investigative journalist future.
I would say to that, Amber, it's, I suppose, the perils of working as a teacher for the last 10 years, where I'm used to 12 or 13 kids walking into an office and they've already got their story straight of exactly what's going to go on, and you've got to do some proper digging. This is sitting reading articles. This was much better.
But you know what? I do hope that other people that have got the time to actually do that further digging and that investigative journalist stuff, I hope there's someone out there that will do that, because I think there's certainly potential, even if it's just to prove or disprove what people are thinking and stuff like that, because certainly something needs to be done anyway. One from Jabo. Sorry if this has been asked before, but thoughts on a Phoenix club should the worst happen? Funny you should mention that, actually. Extra Time is titled "What's the Worst That Can Happen?" Not sponsored by Dr. Pepper, but if you're listening, you can
reference.
You can you can get that one in if you wanted to. But no, I think it was Andy in the in Discord in midweek said kind of like, has anyone thought about what the worst case scenario is going to be? And I was like, that's your extra time episode there. So if you want to listen to that after we've finished here in about an hour's time, patreon.com/WTID pod is where you need to go. The link to that video is there. We haven't recorded it yet. It's another live stream, but it's not. You can only get it if you're over on Patreon. So do check that one out. Shall we do some positive news, Matt?
Oh, please, let's talk about the man from Airdrie. Come on.
Yeah, he's the news that everyone wanted. We all feared that he would go in. I got told on Friday night that he had gone, and from a good source as well. And that source is now firmly in the bin.
Next to that Japan flag, that US flag,
that yellow tie as well. I have got a Denmark flag as well, which is that's hopefully that's staying out for a while. You know what? People who think, what the fuck's this guy buying all these flags for? Like, what's he doing with all these? Like, luckily, it just comes in a brown envelope. It doesn't tell you what's in it. Anyway, but yeah, it was about 1 o'clock, weren't it, on Saturday afternoon when it came through. The club tweeted leader, legend, and then a little blue heart emoji. I must admit, when I obviously there was a video that was accompanying it. When I saw it, I was like, obviously, I was fearing that he was gone and he was going. I was just waiting for the announcement for him to say that he's leaving, and I got that tweet, and I was like, my heart sank initially. I was like, oh shit, he's gone. And then I like read it, and I was like, well, if he has gone, like they wouldn't be. Do you know what I mean, that wouldn't be the tweet. And then, of course, you go into the the tweet itself, and you start watching the video, and it's dark as well. And you're like, oh fuck me, like And then he's got the kit on, and you're like, well, maybe he's not. Maybe he's actually staying. Like, I was like, yeah, fucking hell, he's Bannan's staying. Like, just like I must admit, I quickly zoomed to the end, and I'm like, fucking hell, he's signing a piece of paper. Like, that's all I want to see. He's signing a contract. Barry Bannan is staying. I mean, Matt, what was your kind of initial reaction when you read the news or whatever it was when you heard about it?
I'm genuinely, I'm so delighted that he has stayed. I was so puzzled. The main reason being, James, is because it's very rare in modern football that heart rules head. No matter the circumstances, no matter what it is, Steven Gerrard, you could argue, is a Liverpool legend, and he isn't a one-club man. There are so many examples of football players who are synonymous with a club who go on to pastures new. The minute that he was walking out, and you listen to that first clip of, I'd kind of already known my decision being in my mind weeks ago and knew what I wanted to do. Genuinely, I think I have to keep reminding myself there has been little glimmers of positivity, and those being surrounding potential takeovers or, I don't know, a broker being included, but they're not football. And then I don't have the emotional attachment to those things that I have to this man who wears the number 10 shirt and the captain's armband at Sheffield Wednesday. I was thrilled, absolutely thrilled. And then when you go into all the other bits and pieces that came out surrounding it, the article, the interview that had been given to the club website, legend is a term that gets thrown around a lot in football, or hero or whatever. There is no higher compliment that myself as a Sheffield Wednesday fan can pay Barry Bannan. If he wasn't already on that like Mount Rushmore of Sheffield Wednesday greats, yeah, the other Sheffield Wednesday greats may have trophies that are attached to them or success or whatever. This man has got something that I think any of them who are on there would kill to have, which is 30 to 40,000. Well, they're not 40,000 because the North's closed. If you've got a full Hillsborough, it doesn't matter almost if he doesn't ever pull on a blue and white shirt ever again. It's the gesture of what he's done by standing shoulder to shoulder with every single one of us who is at this football club and in this situation right now. It's his club. And he should be immortalized as a result of decisions and not just the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in my eyes, he was a legend already.
Yeah.
I know that was a bit of a discussion point for some. There were certain people that, like you just mentioned there, people, in order to be a legend, you have to have won something, you have something tangible or a promotion, i.e. promotion to the Premier League for him and stuff, which, I take people's arguments and stuff. I'm sorry. Like now, like again, he's got to a point where, the chips are down and he's stayed. Like Barry Bannan, he's staying at the football club. He's had, numerous opportunities to leave. Yeah. He already spoke about some of the interest that he'd had. He didn't speak about it, but we've heard that Millwall, Middlesbrough, West Brom, Wrexham as well, I think we're also interested. I mean, they're interested in absolutely everyone at the moment, to be honest. But he's chosen to stay, and I think for me, that the reason why he's stayed is because of that emotional connection that he's got with the fans, the club, everything. And when you hear about when he told his eldest daughter Elsie that he were going to be leaving or could be leaving, sorry, and she started crying because obviously this is all that she's known, that Daddy plays for Sheffield Wednesday. That is all. What I know she started school. I don't know if she's school age or not. Yeah, so she'll be telling her friends and stuff like that. That if that conversation ever crops up, and then for it to then be crying again, but because he's staying. That Joe, having two kids myself, two young kids, that was the bit that kind of. It really got me that, and I was, reading it or listening to him say that, and I was like, yeah, I can kind of, look, I've never been in that same situation. When I told, I didn't sit down with me lad and my daughter and tell them that I was leaving my previous workplace, and they didn't break down in tears, but
that would have been funny.
that never happened, but you know what I mean. Having kids, I can resonate with that, and how how much if he was ever in doubt of of either staying or going, the fact that that his daughter's crying and stuff, if that could have been the thing that actually tipped him over the edge and actually said to himself, right, actually, now I'm going to stay.
Yeah, I'm trying. Obviously, James, with the stuff that we're talking about here, I am trying to not get all misty-eyed and football romantic here. The reason why he stayed here, and it is a powerful word, is it's love. It's love for the club. The love in turn that we've shown him, his family as a fan base, a sense of responsibility that he clearly feels. He is a true leader. He spoke about it in his video. He felt people have been looking and turning to him in the past few weeks and months, and he said he couldn't have lived with himself if he'd just walked away. That level of selflessness far outweighs anything he's done on a football pitch for me. It just so happens he has been and still is one hell of a player. I am delighted for him. I'm delighted that he has made the decision to stay with the football club. And for me, I'm highlighting this comment from Nat here because Chris Waddle is my Sheffield Wednesday hero. He's the reason why I fell in love with football. I agree entirely with this, Nat. Waddle is a hero. Bannan is a legend. That is, for me, the highest praise that I can pay Barry Bannan.
Because it would have been so easy for him just to walk away. We were talking about it. I was of the firm belief. I hope people take this the right way, and I've already said it before anyway. I kind of hope that he would leave because it's going to be shit this season. It's going to be really shit. It's going to be slightly less shit because he's here, but it's still going to be really, really shit. And there's no two ways about it. It's going to be a real, real struggle, and I just don't want. And maybe the way that it's panned out might mean that this doesn't happen. Because if it does, I think those people will get shit. But I don't want people to turn on Barry Bannan when things are going wrong, which undoubtedly they probably will be.
Yeah,
I don't want him to be saying his legs have gone. He shouldn't have signed that new deal. He's just in it for the money. Rah 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 rah. All these things that are probably going to come out of people's mouths. So because of that and because of that fear of that happening, I wanted him to just leave, go somewhere else. For his family, for his sake, for his, I know it might be a tough decision, but that's what I kind of wanted. I'm not saying that I'm disappointed now that he has stayed. That was more for him more than anything else. And but he stayed, and I'm delighted at that.
Yeah, no, I agree, James. I think I'm with you, and we've sat on here and said I don't want him to go, but I think for him, I wanted him to see out 2 years playing football, spraying it about the park and enjoying himself and having the weight of everything and the situation that is going on here currently off his shoulders. Because if anybody within our squad from last season has earned that, it's him. The fact that he's knows all of that, has had tangible offers on the table from a raft of championship clubs. I don't buy what everybody was shoveling last year about that. His legs are gone. He's not that good. He's not this. He played in a two-man midfield and he played over 30-odd games at my age and your age. Anybody is going to look tired towards the end of that season. Rumoured to have been playing through an injury also.
Yeah. I run up and down the garden and I'm out for 3 weeks. So
I genuinely, I am lost for words on what the gesture means given the current situation surrounding Sheffield Wednesday. I'm delighted for him.
Yeah, definitely agree. Just quickly, do you think it's put pressure on some of the other players to now stay, given what he said, and he openly admits that it's going to be a relegation battle this season? I mean, no shit, Sherlock. I mean, anyone could have told him that. I mean, it would have been funny if he started to say something like, we'll be fine. Top 6, we're going for
that would have been
playoffs.
That would have been great.
But I was actually quite surprised that he did actually talk about that and how difficult it is going to be. Quite fairly open, as open as perhaps he was ever going to be. But I just thought it might, if I know people are their own, they can make their own decisions and stuff. But for someone like him, the leader that he is, the captain of the football club, if he's looking round, or to be fair, on Monday, tomorrow, if they are in training tomorrow, they might have been in training today.
If they are in training a week before the fucking season starts, if they're in training tomorrow.
look, you can never be too sure with this football club. You never know. Dapon might have got him on the north stand. You know, he says, "I pay you. You can be fixing this north stand. Forget your drills and your set pieces and stuff. You shit at your set pieces anyway. So get on north stand. I've got your paintbrush and some paint. Get painting that anyway." Man. You know, but you know, in all seriousness, like when he's looking at the other players and he's looking them dead in the eye, like he'll know the ones that are perhaps thinking about leaving. And I don't know. It just might make some of the people that were going to leave think, wait a minute, if it's all right for Barry, then like, you know, maybe I need to do the same thing. I don't know.
Possibly, but I don't want to overplay the role that a colleague can have with another colleague. You may well be really close mates with them. And Liam Palmer is aside here because Liam Palmer has already committed his future to this football club. Not my cup of tea as a player, but again, goes into the same bracket as Barry Bannan here for the gesture that he made earlier on by saying, I won't take a wage until others have been paid, and also for showing up and putting on that shirt to represent the fans of this football club, of which he is one from birth. Others who have been here a year, 2 years, yeah, you might look at him and go, oh, do you know what? I will start the season with these. I will stick it out. 2 months down the line, when the wages are still late again and the offer is still there to leave or go out, I would be amazed, James, if, let's say, I was at another football club, not mine, not my football club, but another football club that I was just playing for. I might choose to stick around at the start of the season. 2 months in, when we're, I don't know, a couple of points adrift at the bottom of it and it's not getting any better, I might get a tight hamstring and look for a move. I don't want to do a disservice to any of the players there, but I am also aware that I still am of the opinion, James, I would not begrudge any single one of them for walking away from this situation.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that. If that's their decision, I'm not going to say, fucking hell, Bannan stayed, you didn't, you prick. Yeah. Like, you know, yeah. I still think if they want to leave, it's, you know, it's absolutely fine. Interesting point you made there about kind of the length of time that players have been at the club. Deshaun Bernard, this will be his third season. Yep. Dom Iorfa, all right, he's a little bit longer. He's probably into his seventh year now.
Yeah.
Otagbeo, young lad, so it's his first full season of professional football. Max Lowe, second season. Valerie, second. Palmer, 57th season.
57th.
Shalabar, second. Ingleson, there's a theme here. You know, Sean Fashira, first. Kabatske, second. Ugbo, might as well be his first. Jamal Lowe, second. I mean, the point. The last season was their first season at Sheffield Wednesday. All the players, all the other players that have been here a little longer, like your Windasses, your Smiths, you know, they've all gone. Or they've been released. You know, your Johnsons and your Michael Hekwas of this world. So actually, when you look at it, other than Bannan and Palmer, all right, now you've got Ike Ugbo. Ike Ugbo. What am I on about? Dom Iorfa.
Yeah,
in that list, like. There's not many that have actually been here for a long time.
No, I'm just highlighted this one from Adam because as you were reading those players out, he just put in capital letters. He's been very active in the chat writing this, but Adam has just wrote mid-table finish watch. James, I think it's difficult. I think you also have to look at the players realistically that have a market. There will be a market for Max Lowe. There will be a market for Jan Valery. There probably will be a market for Deshaun Bernard when he is back fit. There will definitely be a market for Pierce Charles. You'll have to pay, but there'll be a market for him. I think you have to look at those players, if he's been paid, that is. You have to look at those as genuine, tangible options in the situation that we are in. And also, if you're in that player's situation, we spoke about this with Josh Windass. We spoke about this with Barry Bannan prior to this news. A footballer's career is short. And you want to not only maximize your money in that short space of time, you also want to ensure that you maximize your playing opportunities because it's a long career sat on podcasts talking about the good old days of this changing room and that. It's 15, if at a stretch playing professional football, it's 16, 15 years of your life and then it's gone. You want to be maximising that opportunity to its fullest potential. I would not blame any of those players. In terms of the ones who I would imagine stay are the ones who are short of options. That's not me being horrible. That's just from looking at, say, Nathaniel Chalobah. He will have options, but they may not be options that he wants to take. He won't get as regular a game time as that he would do perhaps at Sheffield Wednesday this season, with a view to, well, if I play, I don't know, 20 games between now and January, there could be a move on the cards for me there. Svante Ingelsson, I would imagine, fits in a similar boat. If you're Olaf Kabatsky, if you're Bailey Cadamartri, if you're Gabe Otigbayo, or any of the other younger lads that are potentially around,
is another one. Yeah,
Sean Fasire is another one. You stay, because this is your opportunity to go and prove yourself at this level. Because it doesn't matter if we go down and get relegated, because clubs will go, well, they were shit last year as a squad. You actually did all right, so we'll take a chance on you.
Well, do you know what, as well? A lot of the scouting now gets done online. You go on these, things like Y Scout is obviously
it's clips.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't show you the full game. It doesn't show you the 6 goals you've conceded. You type in Sean Fasire take-ons, for example, and it'll just show you all of the the successful ones, the non-successful ones. You're just watching him on the ball. Like that the fact that the players won't be on the ball much this season is by the by. But
defensive shape will look great though, won't it?
Oh, definitely. Do you know what I thought that actually? That when it was Pierce Charles and West Ham links and stuff, I thought, like, if we're going to sell him, at least we'll loan him back. Do you know what I mean? Just at least loan him back for a season, and then because they'll get a lot of shot practice in anyway.
But you will also gain a hell of a lot of goodwill, not only from the Sheffield Wednesday fan base, but West Ham, because the amount of West Ham fans that I have seen speaking about this situation over the past couple of days, I think it's just due to the national exposure. They are one of the clubs in the Premier League who have stood up and taken notice of the situation that is going on at Sheffield Wednesday. I think it's also possibly because they're linked with Shay Charles at Southampton, and they've come and I've had 1 or 2 of them who've messaged and said what Shay Charles were linked with him.
Yeah,
honest situation.
Probably the worst person to ask that question as well.
Oh yeah, fuck it. Yeah, he's Seedorf, mate. Don't worry about it.
It's like wiping away the tears, like
he's Seedorf. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Pay whatever. I just would look at that situation, and if you are a club there, if you sign Pierce Charles, he's not going to play. He's not going to be your first team keeper this year if he goes to a Premier League club. He's not. He's a very good goalkeeper. He's not Premier League ready. Chuck him back there for a year, get a year worth of football experience, and then come back. Look at what's happened with James Beadle. If you'd have told me, James, 12 months ago that actually we hadn't been able to get James Beadle because he's had half a season in League One, done really well at half a season at us, and actually another Premier League club has taken a punt on him. Like one of the newly promoted sides has taken a punt on him. And I've gone, yeah, I'll buy that. He's had another year of Championship football, and he's gone to, I know we're not going to get time to do our predictions for this season. Shock horror, Birmingham City will be close to the top 6. He's gone to a top 6 side, potentially, this season. That is a step up incrementally in his career path at a young goalkeeper who, no matter what you think of him, has done incredibly well in a short space of time, and he's got a lot of games under his belt. Very beneficial.
Yeah, do you know what? Us in Birmingham is like stood at one of those village train stations when one of them bullet trains comes past and goes. It is, isn't it? Like just
we went off on a steam train in the other direction 12 months ago. And they were like, "Don't worry, we're coming back around."
Yeah. Trains don't make that noise, by the way, but anyway.
Fucking hell! I ain't living in that. I ain't living in this city with them.
Yeah. Right. Let's. A question from George: did Paxo get any money from Bannan signing a new deal?
It's a good question. It's a very, very good question. Which, again, who knows? There will only be a handful of people who know the answer to that question.
Yeah. Craig says emotional bribery from Elsie Bannan. She deserves a statue more than her dad. Yeah, definitely. Richard says you guys should do a protest outside the away end, get attention from the Sky cameras, and embarrass the AFL. The Trust have announced that as well. I don't know if Richards is a Wednesday fan or a fan of a Leicester fan, maybe. But
I'm not entirely sure. But yeah,
there will be a protest next Sunday, even when we take on Leicester. Jason says, how long a deal has he signed? Jason, we never find out, do we? Ever. Do we find out how long the deal is? The only time we find out is when the agents are on Instagram and they have their picture taken around the player when, and they tell us how long that is. But the club haven't done, and I don't see that changing, certainly under the Chancery regime anyway. No. Right, let's move on. One man leaves, another man, I won't say walk in, but he was already here, so he just put his coat on, basically. We'll talk about Danny Röhl first. I thought, do you know what? I was putting this together, and I'm like, in my head, that happened fucking weeks ago.
No, it was Monday.
I know.
Fucking Monday.
Honestly, I thought, I was like, oh, we can't talk about that because we've already talked about this before. But like, I mean, I think that's how long it's kind of been rumbling on and on and on. But, Danny has now left by mutual consent. Now we are led to believe that our dear old Dej has paid him off. So that, the fact that it's mutual consent and not sacked says to me that it wasn't the full amount that he was entitled to, but they've obviously come to some sort of agreement, probably the only agreement that they've ever had in their, working relationship since he came to the club. But Matt, this could and should, and I keep saying it every time, should have been sorted way, way, way before this. Watford away, see you later, Danny, and we could have just moved on. Why it took to, a week and a half before the new season for Henrik to come into the job, and I know he's already here and stuff, but to kind of get his plan across. I mean, to be fair, like the players leaving, it probably didn't even matter anyway. But point being, should have sorted this out sooner. And also, we hear today that apparently a German club were willing to give him £1 million to
Wolfsburg. It was Wolfsburg who were willing to give £1 million, but obviously dear old Dej wanted the full £5 million for him. James, you've been on this hill right from the very start of the whole Danny Röhl thing surrounding. We need to just have a clean break, and I remember you got absolute pelters for it at the time, and like, oh my god, what fucking sense does that make?
Why would you let him go when you can get some money for him?
Now, revisionist history tells us, fucking hell, what I would have given for a 4 weeks worth of clear runway of a pre-season with a manager. I mean,
my German's improved from listening to the German podcast in German things. So, if there's any sort of kind of positive that we can take from the whole situation.
It's genuinely, James, it is pointless going back into what we could have and should have done surrounding. We all know the decisions that the chairman should have made surrounding the manager, should have made surrounding offers, should have made surrounding this. It's so fucking stupid. But would you expect anything less, given the stuff that we have heard in the last 3 months, 92 days since Watford? Does this surprise anyone that this man has turned down £1 million offer and ultimately ended up shelling out, let's call it 300 grand?
Yeah,
he's actually he's a net 1.3 loss from what it's like. Honestly, it's like bullseye. Let's have a look at what you could have won.
That's just two spins on the wheel for our old Dej. That's nothing to him. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to dwell too much on Danny, but what I do want to ask though is kind of how is he going to be remembered for you? Because for me, it's just, like under Cisco, it was terrible. It was so bad, really, really bad. And for me, it was just when he came in. I remember that Watford game, and just we lost that game, but I was like, "Fucking hell!" Like, there's a plan. I can actually see what they're trying to do here. Like there's a semblance of an actual game plan, and then obviously as the games went on, and then we got that win against Rotherham, a win at home. We were like, oh hallelujah! Like this is, and just that kind of giving us a sense of optimism and a sense of belief, because we thought we were rock bottom back then. I think we found that we weren't quite at rock bottom, but. That's for me. That's the kind of overriding kind of memory that I've got is that giving that belief and that that actual giving football back really, because it was easy to kind of fall out of love with football a little bit. Again, I know like in hindsight, what we were thinking back then, it wasn't even that bad. But at the time, That's how I felt anyway.
Yeah, I think you've got to contextualize it as well, James, because we just received two of the biggest highs that you're going to get of like overturning a 4-0 deficit and then 123rd minute winner against a local and division rival at Wembley before penalties, and it's scored by Josh Windass, who's been at the club for 4 or 5 years at the time, and it's done by Darren Moore, who came in when nobody else would take the job, nearly died, by the way, doing the job when he contracted pneumonia during COVID, has rebuilt this squad. Everybody's fully invested, and then obviously he gets shot in the head and we end up with some clown from Watford who didn't know his arse from his elbow, despite what he likes to put on social media. Yeah, I agree with you at the time, up until, I will say, James, up until today's date, because the season hasn't kicked off for this season. And this is the worst I've ever felt about football going in.
Yeah.
That was the worst time that I've had supporting Sheffield Wednesday. Like the actual football side of things, that was the worst time that I've had watching Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, I remember you were at the West Brom game, weren't you? And that was
I was at the West Brom game. I was at the Watford game. It was night and day, like night and day, James. And I think how he's remembered for me is really simple. He's right manager, wrong time. Also, right coaching staff as well. Yes. Wrong time. For me, it's as simple as that. He's a fantastic first-team coach and manager, irrespective of what's happened over the past couple of weeks. That doesn't change it for me. He made the most of his opportunity here. He behaved poorly in the last 3 or 4 weeks of his time at Sheffield Wednesday by leaving his colleagues, who he spoke so highly of in his leaving message, out to dry. But I understand why he did it, which was to force the chairman's hand. In that respect, he's been consistent throughout his time here. He's always done the thing that is kind of an off-key, like when we were listening to the interview, I think it was start of December, where he said, ask the chairman. And it was like somebody's playing a wonderful symphony on a piano, and then he hits the wrong key on purpose and then just pauses and then goes back to doing what he was doing. He always, very similar to Darren Moore in the aftermath of Darren Moore being sacked, he was never afraid to stick up to the chairman and publicly bait him into saying something or bait him into doing something. That is ultimately why I think that the chairman has turned down the £1 million offer for Rohl from Wolfsburg, is out of spite.
Yeah.
I think it's out of spite towards the manager. The same way as we've heard that I'll never sell the football club to insert American consortium here. It's out of spite because
and this is why he's
fuck.
And that is why he's a dangerous man. That he'd he would rather not pay players and not pay staff than kind of concede to another human being who he's never going to see ever again. And he probably only saw a handful of times anyway, as well. If we're being truthful about it, like you said there, he had £1 million on the table. He's had to pay out a certain amount of money to Danny Röhl to pay him off. That would have at least alleviated, July's wage problem. But anyway, let's move on. I'll just read a few out. Nat says, I'll take fond memories of Rohl, but we move on. Adam said, Danny did a great job, but we can't take that away from him. But then he set up an OnlyFans page and pimped himself out. He messed up what he did for us. See ya. And then this one, I do agree with Craig. Sadly, he'll be remembered for his conduct since Southampton. Yeah, people have,
Sorry, James. I think he'll have learned a lot from the experience, and he will be a better manager for it. Like, he will be a better manager for it going forward, and other clubs will see the benefit of it because he will have learned his mistakes from this. What I would say is you are never going to get a baptism of fire into a working job or an environment like the one he's had at Sheffield Wednesday. Somebody in around October, November, when that spate of sackings starts, is going to get a hell of a first-team coach.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about coaches, Dan says, wasn't Pederson the attacking coach last year? Well, yeah, according to Windass, when he was on a Scottish podcast, that's exactly what he said, and that kind of segues nicely into Wednesday's announcement. Tuesday, I think it was, weren't it?
Nah, Tuesday was Rohl. Sorry, James, I got my dates wrong. I was playing golf on the Tuesday, so I do remember.
Whatever day, Thursday, it was a day this week. I have no idea when it was. They've all merged into one. It wasn't Friday, I know that.
Thursday.
It might have been Thursday.
I think it was Thursday, yeah.
But yeah, Henrik Pedersen is our new manager moving forward, and kind of, I think Jamal Lowe summed it up quite nicely when he did speak to Sky Sports News on Friday. It's kind of for the best, really, in terms of from a management point of view, that there's no real change. Really, he was already there before. He knows the players know him, the ones that are staying anyway. And it's not like a new manager coming into this kind of shit show. He's already been there. But what did you make to the announcement?
I'm thrilled he's chosen to take this on, and his statement was very Viking and Nordic influenced, which is the exact messaging you love to see in a siege mentality. I'm not going to sit here, James, and pretend to know enough about him and his footballing philosophy to comment. I know he worked on the attacking side, as we've just spoken about there. That's great at times. It was fucking terrible at other times. By all accounts, he as a person is very blunt and direct, which is exactly the type of character that you want in a dogfight. In terms of his managerial tenure at Sheffield Wednesday, I'm going to reserve judgment until there's a new owner in place and he's not working with both arms and legs tied behind his back. Yeah. And I'm not normally in the business of making excuses about people in football, and especially managers, James, but this man deserves them. There are also certainly conversations surrounding his exit from, I think it's Stormgårdset, and the allegations around that him leaving there. Now is not the time for that. For more info on it, there is a Substack which is done by Peter Lerman, but it should be said that the Norwegian FA found insufficient evidence to lead to charges, and Pedersen vehemently denies all the charges. On the whole, seems the only logical and also the only person who would have taken the job appointment. I'm pleased he was in the building. I'm pleased that he has been there, and that, as Barry Bannan came out and said, he was there when we needed him. Because if he's already got that level of buy-in from players who he needs to run through pain, play through injuries, and chuck themselves in front of everything this year just to scrape a draw, I don't think you're going to find somebody who's better suited to that than this man at this current time.
Yeah, I agree. Look, we don't know a great deal about him, do we? You can look at his Wikipedia page and look at his managerial record and go, doesn't look great. None of those teams who, if you'd have seen that little TikTok or the short that I did, I probably butchered all of those team names, to be fair. It's funny. It's funny, actually. Just sorry, I need to say this. There's one team that he might, I think it's the I want to say it's the last one that he was at, or certainly one of them anyway. Anyway, I'm gonna bring it up. Where are they from? Denmark. It was the last one. Vendisel. Anyway, when you put the captions up on like TikTok and stuff, no word of a lie, it come up Vin Diesel.
Can you play right back?
Yeah. So he managed Vin Diesel, apparently, according to the. I did edit it. I did change it. I did check it before he went out, but it made me giggle. Just like Amadu Paxo turned into what alpaca or something like that. He said,
"Fucking hell."
It's just it must be the Yorkshire twang. It's just don't quite pick up those place names and people names. But no, in all seriousness, I don't know a great deal about him. Yes, I mean, let's be right. The attacking, over the past, 21 months or so under Danny Röhl, it was probably been the best part of the kind of football. The defending wasn't great. So let's hope that he brings someone in to do that. It doesn't look like it. When they put the announcement out and he said he's going to bring in his coaching staff, I'm thinking like, where and what with? Like, what is he going to bring him in with? He got no money to pay them. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what the coaching setup is going to look like, because I can't see him bringing anyone in. I feel like everyone's just going to get bumped up from the academy and things just to kind of help out. Really, we've already seen Giles Coke and Andy Oldsworth. Remembered his name this time, by the way.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Yeah. Pats on the back for that one. They've already seen them kind of being quite prevalent in the pictures, still the very few pictures that we've been having from the training sessions and stuff. So it looks like that's already happened anyway. But yeah, I think on one hand I look and think it's probably he's onto a lose-lose situation. Because then I think because what I don't know what he's going to really gain out of the whole situation, really, from a career point of view and kind of moving forward. But then on the other hand, I think it's almost win-win because he's expected to lose every single week. So like just to avoid absolute hammering, he's going to be seen as a positive. A draw will feel like a win in some regards. So and it'll be yes. And if other people recognize the situation that he's in, they perhaps he might have a 5% win percentage, which will look shit on his Wikipedia page. But if people that are in the know, actual people that are in the know, in the football game, they'll recognize that and they'll be like, actually, like if anything, he took that job on knowing how bad it was going to be and kind of stuck it out, kind of thing. I just hope, do you know what? I really hope, because we know how bad it's going to be. I hope he doesn't just get sacked within 3 months, because you just kind of think, what is the fucking point? Do you know what I mean?
I genuinely, James, I don't think he's going to. What benefit, if you are Chansiri, do you have to sacking him?
That's what I mean. We like, if he's going to be here, like if he's not going to have gone by that point, like please just don't, because it's not going to do anything. We're not going to gain anything from it, are we? To be fair,
no.
I mean, fast forward to Christmas when it is absolutely dog shit, and we're sat here going, just fucking sack him.
He's got to fucking go, Chansiri. We won't like. Genuinely, I think he is in a real sweet spot for a manager here. It's a horrendous situation, god awful, but your job is secure. I mean, you won't get paid on time. It might be partial payments. You don't know how many players you're going to have, but also Chansiri is so checked out of the football side of this. He is. He's so checked out of the football side of this that actually it doesn't matter if you sack him and then bring in Andy Oldsworth or Giles Coke or Doris. It doesn't matter who you put on that touchline. The result's going to be roughly similar. And what you need at this point in time to have any chance of relative success this season is a manager who has the full buy-in and commitment of this particular squad of players. And I am delighted from that perspective that Henrik Pedersen has agreed to stay. I would also like to argue here there's probably an emotional pull here from his wife as well, who we have heard several things about how much she has enjoyed the Sheffield, how much as a family they feel that they've been settled in the area, how much that they have taken to the club and how much the club has got under their skin. We mustn't forget that when this coaching staff and setup came in, there was not only Henrik Pedersen that we heard about Chris Powell speaking so glowingly about how he feels that the club to a degree saved him and saved his life. Neil Thompson, obviously, who has left the club recently for different reasons, I think probably coming towards the end of his coaching career, maybe looking for something slightly different out of it. This is a man who you can look towards over the next however long he's in charge for and say, yeah, do you know what? I am actually in a game like the players who are on that pitch. I'm in full support of what you're doing for the next 90 minutes. One thing that I would say just before we move on, James, is there is an outstanding movie quote, and I love a movie quote from KD Tech here after the Vin Diesel reference, which is basically a full rendition of Fast and Furious about Hector running 3 Honda Civics with Motec exhausts and NOS and all the rest of it. I'm not going to read it out because it's so long, but it is outstanding work.
I must admit, I was reading it thinking, what the fuck is he on?
No, it's a Fast and Furious 1 reference. It's it's exceptional work, mate. Exceptional work.
I'm glad you knew what that was on about. Coops with the super chat. Thank you very much. I know it's doom and gloom at the moment, but thank you for your consistent coverage. There's light at the end of the tunnel. We're all Wednesday, aren't we? Yes. Thanks for that. Do appreciate it. Yeah, we love doing this, the podcast and stuff, talking about it, and the community that we've kind of gathered together. If you want to say that, certainly over on Discord and stuff, it does make the darker days a little bit lighter. Yeah, certainly. Sure. Again, like kind of laughing about it and having a joke and all the other things, and some serious discussions over there as well. Right then, before we go, we've got the North Stand to talk about. Another thing that I thought was weeks ago, but it wasn't. This was also this week. it's been served a prohibitive. I can't say that word.
Prohibitive.
Yeah, notice, one of them, by the Sheffield City Council. What does that mean? It means it's knackered and it's not been given the safety certificate. I don't think that was the technical term that...
Please tell me they've gone in and said that. Hey, it's right knackered, that.
They might as well have, to be fair. I could have told them that. But yeah, it's not got the safety certificate that the stadiums require in order to open. So kind of, yeah, like, what does it mean for season ticket holders like myself who sit on the North Stand? Absolutely no idea, because the club... I mean, when I was writing this, I wrote this yesterday, I thought something's going to come out today and I'm just going to have to delete all this because we kind of know what's going to happen. But that hasn't happened yet. We're still, we're now less than 2 weeks until the first home game of the season. And I have no idea where I'm going to be sitting. Well, I'll be sat on a sun lounger in Greece because I'm missing that game. So again,
it was a bastard.
Do you know what? When my wife, she sorts all the holidays out and stuff, and I didn't really give it any other notice. And I was like, "Fuck!" Season started there, and I'm missing. How many games are going to miss? And then now, actually, I think it's a fantastic idea to miss those games. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just a bit of a joke that nothing's been said. I got whispers that it was going to be Friday, then that never happened. I mean, maybe the Bannan stuff kind of took over, but really, whatever other news was coming out, you've just got to tell people where they're going to be sitting. There's people ringing up the ticket office, just getting something's going to come out soon. You'll find out soon. That's all they keep telling people, which, again, I'm not throwing shade on anyone that works in the ticket office whatsoever. They're just being told what they need to put out there. But the person that's making the decision, whoever that may be, needs to get a wiggle on, because, are they still gathering information, Matt, like that they said they were doing on Tuesday or whatever it was?
I'll surmise the information, James. It's fucked. It's been fucked for some time, and the chairman and those involved at the top of the club, Trevor, Alistair, perhaps others, have known this and not taken the necessary steps required to ensure the safety of the supporters attending and sitting in that stand for the 25-26 season. This has ultimately led to them selling tickets for a stand that has been deemed unsafe to allow customers to sit in their purchase seat. They all knew how deep-rooted this was. They all knew the extent of it. Do they understand the historical significance of the ground at Hillsborough and fan safety? I'm sure they would argue they do. So why the fuck are you playing fast and loose with safety certificates and attempting to strong-arm governing bodies? SAG and Sheffield Council don't close a stand for fuck all. They don't take these decisions lightly. This is a last resort because you are not listening. This, alongside the not paying club staff, is, for me, the worst thing this ownership group have done. It's fucking shameful.
Yeah, I said this, the stand closing is probably he's done a lot of bad things, but this is probably the worst, to be fair, because it is, like you said, it is safety, and it's just a fact that he knew about it. If it just got dropped on him yesterday, fair enough, but I don't know what the delay is. I don't know whether because if they're trying to find some sort of loophole or get someone else to do some sort of report, like you said, it doesn't come lightly. They don't just do this just because. It's quite embarrassing, probably for the council as well. If you think about it, the fact that they'll be seen to have let this happen. They've not been strong enough to actually prevent this from happening. It is embarrassing that they've got two stadiums in their area, and one of them's now only got three sides to it. It is, more should have been done. But actually, I'm not putting blame on them. I'm putting blame firmly at Dejwan's door. In that, why has he not got the work done? What did he expect was going to happen? The rust was just miraculously going to fall off, and it was going to be all right, or did he? I've no idea. The main thing is, Matt, that they need to come out very, very quickly, because for me, I'm not here. It doesn't really matter for me. Although my dad were going to use my ticket, so it does kind of matter. I want to sort it out and at least tell him where he's going to be sitting. And like I've mentioned before, it's me and Steve who go to the games. It's just two of us. That's it. And actually, I've been a respite from Mr. Gerrit Forrard, who might be sat behind me. So actually, wherever they move me to, I might be sitting there a little bit. I
really hope they relocate in groups.
Yeah, in blocks.
I really hope it.
Actually, really hope it happens. He's sat behind me, so he might be sat fucking next to me. That'd be even worse, wouldn't it? Oh, fucking, he's there again.
He'd be next to you, literally next to you.
I don't know what's worse, like, because when he's behind me, he's in my ear all the time, like whinging, fucking every game. Do you know what, as well? Jesus, I dread. I might have to move, you know. Like, I can't do this season. He'll be like, that EK young boy, he's fucking shit. I mean, he is, but you know, he might have got a point with that one. But you know, he's just gonna be going on and on and on this season. I'm gonna have words with him. I think I've already had a few words with him on some games, but I'm gonna have to like kind of stop myself from saying something. But no, honestly, like the club needs to come out and say something, because for some people it is, you know, it's a big thing, isn't it? It's a massive thing. They sit with the same people all the time, and if anything, these first couple of home games, you know, with the whole situation, actually the football element of it, there might be actually like, I'm sat with my mates, so be friends or my family and stuff. That's the only bit that they're coming for, because they're not coming for the football, are they, Matt?
Nope, they're not coming for the football. This is everybody at the club. This isn't just the chairman. Yes, the chairman signs the checks. Yes, he's the fucking idiot who tried to tell Sheffield City Council and SAG, you're wrong, I'm right, fuck off, I'll do it whenever I want. Why he hasn't done the work, the honest answer is out of pure stupidity and stubbornness, because he doesn't agree when somebody tells him you need to do something. He goes, no, I'm not doing it because you've told me to. The reason why I include the other two, Trevor and Alistair, in this is because Alistair, as he likes to remind fans at every fans forum, I'm just the bloke from the ticket office. Okay, cool. You know this process inside out about relocating fans. Fucking get on with it. And the reason why I implicate Trevor in this is because isn't he the guy who does the communications inside and out of Hillsborough? Can you remember the statement that came out? The statement that came out for this was fucking disgusting. There was no, we are so sorry to all of the disruption that this is going to cause. We are working to get a solution to you within the next, here's the time frame. It was, we're going to appeal it. We're looking for further info. What other fucking info do you need? You've known this work needs doing since 2021. You have known for 4 years that this structural stuff is not going away, and you need to do more than just put a bandage over things and do things to appease this particular safety advisory group. The difference being you've just run out of the pocket change that you had to do this and to keep this open. But you have played fast and loose with a ground that is synonymous with the biggest footballing disaster that has seen fans go to a football game and not come home. How dare you, as people who are associated to this football club, have the fucking brass neck to ignore this type of stuff, because it drags the club, the fans, and everybody's name through the mud yet again, with something that, as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, I try my hardest, and I find myself, when I speak to a Liverpool fan, apologising and being incredibly sympathetic for a situation that I wasn't born for, because I know the level of sensitivity that is coupled with this and the strength of feeling. How fucking dare you ignore this type of shit at this football club?
Well, we've already seen some national journalists mentioning no names, you know who they are, already kind of picking up on this and running with it already. And it's just not, again, like many of these situations could have easily been avoided. And I've seen some comments already here kind of explaining what needs doing and stuff, but I've also heard numerous of those same comments, but different, if you know what I mean. Everyone's got their own story as to what's needed and everything else. So ultimately, we ain't got a clue what's actually needed, really, or what work he's going to be actually agreed to need taking place or anything. But he just says to me that, like, it must be a fairly big job, because if it wasn't, you just get it done. Like, it must be a fairly big one. And my worry is that I've heard 6 weeks being touted around. Again, I don't even know if they've started the work or not yet. I mean, that's, again, we need timescales. Whenever this gets sorted, it can't just be a like game by game basis. It needs to be, we look to have the work sorted by a date. Do you know what I mean? So that we can do it. And I just don't know how they're going to do it as well. I mean, I feel it's going to be kind of like when it's a cup game, and you can, season ticket holders can get a ticket and you can pick wherever you want to sit. I think it's just going to be like that, but just for the North Stand season ticket holders to pick another seat in the stand. If it is like that, I feel like it's probably going to get you to pay him extra to sit on the south stand. I feel like because they'll be able to do that if you pick that seat. I hope they don't, but I can imagine that happening. Apologies. But if it is like that, then you've got, people that have, the older generation, let's say, that not as tech savvy, they're ringing up, trying, it's going to be absolute chaos. It's because you can have 5,000-6,000 people, and you buy away tickets. I don't know how many people have got all the TP points and stuff, but it's not thousands, is it? Certainly for those first, the first batches and stuff, it's going to be a couple of hundred people, and then logging on at one time. When they announce it, and you've got like 5,000-6,000 people logging on all at the same time, you're gonna have it sat in a queue. It's just hassle that you don't want. Like that is the main thing.
James, prime example. Leicester tickets went on sale last week. I'm in the first wave of people who are available to buy a Leicester ticket. I messaged the Discord, didn't I, and said, "Well, this is going fucking swimmingly because the website crashed." This is going fucking brilliantly because the website crashed and I couldn't log on to my site. And then by the time I'd got through, somebody else had done it and blah, 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 blah. I ultimately ended up getting one. That's fine. But as you said, 5,000-6,000 people all logging into that website. The Sheffield Wednesday website is at best patchy because it's not run by Sheffield Wednesday. It's run by servers who control multiple EFL clubs because our website looks the fucking same as everybody else's website. It is not going to be able to handle it. It just won't. And if it is, that's fine. But there will be people who are doing this and trying to coordinate it with other people so that they can, sit next to their mate, their dad, their mom, their sister, their brother, whoever the fuck it is. You will have it clicked and in your basket for 44 minutes. What happens when 6,000 people all click the available spaces on the south stand?
Yeah.
The first 6,000 who are in will get the opportunity to. Some will get rid of them and some will go and sit on the car. But you are basically going to have the conversation before you log into that website. Where do you want to sit? Where is the ideal? How far away are you prepared to go from that? Is it 2 seats together? Are you happy to sit in one behind? It is total bollocks. And that is just the logistics of the situation, not the... I don't think the North... I will say it now, James. I don't mind saying this. I don't think the North Stand will be open this season. Because if you're Chansiri, why'd you pay for the work?
Clive just said that work will not get done. Chansiri is potless. His family won't dip in. No one will do the work without money up front. It's a great point to make.
No, I personal opinion, I don't understand. If I was in his shoes, thank fuck I'm not. If I was in his shoes and thought the way he did, why am I paying that money? Why? I've already got their money. I've already got their season ticket money and I've already fucked it out the door. I can maybe get another 200 quid if they relocate to the other stand over there. Why am I going to pay to get this sorted? Because after 6 games, when that one reopens and they all want to move back and I've got to issue refunds, but I haven't got that because I've paid Doris.
Matt, we are talking about a person that aspired to be like Reading. So he'll be looking and going, Oxford only have 3 sides to their stand, their ground. Fucking, we'll have 3 sides to ours as well.
I tell you, that was fucking cold in December.
they can still survive with 3 sides to their ground. The fact that they're looking for one with 4 sides is by the by. But yeah, the top of the bottom, it needs sorted out. It needs like. A problem is just met with another problem, though, every single time. Like, the problem is that the stand isn't open. The next problem is now fans don't know where they're sitting. Like, literally, as you mentioned, you could have sorted this out before. I mean, the other problem is going to be, you look on the North Stand, you probably can actually buy a season ticket on there. I don't know if it actually lets you buy it or not. But, you look now, and I think, I didn't count all of them. I just added up all the numbers of how many seats are left. But someone pointed out, well, all the people that haven't renewed their ticket is still shown as actually not available, which obviously is not true because they haven't bought one yet. But again, that was like last chance to buy a season ticket. They've just kind of moved it on and on and on. So that's another thing that's going to have to happen. I don't know how easy it is, but they're going to have to release all of the seats because everyone on the South Stand won't have renewed they all won't have renewed season tickets. So they're going to have to do that before anyone can... Mate, nightmare. Could have been avoided. yeah, I feel sorry for the people in the ticket office having to sort all this shit out because it's not
Clear
what they
up
signed
this
up for.
fucking mess that's not their doing.
And the other guy, he's pushing a gondola, eating £70 steaks. Yeah. Anyway, right.
Anyway, Leicester 6-0.
Yeah, we haven't got time to talk about Leicester. It's happening next week, or it might not be happening next week. Who knows? I did speak to a Leicester fan, and to be fair, he thought they were in dire straits. He actually apologising because he was like, he was being really negative, and then he was like, "Look, mate, I'm talking to the wrong person here because he's saying all these things, and they haven't signed a player, and they might be getting a points deduction." And I'm like, yep, that sounds like us that as well. But
what one embargo? Fuck off.
Well, they ain't got an embargo. They just might be getting a points deduction for the FFP stuff. But no, Patreon members can listen to that tomorrow if you want to check that out. That's patreon.com/WTRD pod. And that's exactly where you need to go to listen to us talk about the worst case scenario for Sheffield Wednesday. So again, some absolutely positive news. So we will be talking about Phoenix clubs. I can't believe I've just said that word. And those sorts of things, points deductions, relegations. Yeah, like it's not going to be positive reading, but I'm sure we'll make it as fun as we possibly can. I was going to read this before we do go. Paul said, "A blade here. Love your chemistry and the humour you have about it all. I'm going to have a sneaky 50 quid on you to avoid relegation. This time next year, we'll be millionaires." Well, that involves it actually coming in, Paul, for that to actually happen. But no, thanks for joining me.
James, I was just going to say, for balance, I'm just going to ring up John's rubbish podcast this week. So yeah, that's just for balance, mate.
Cheers, John. Thanks very much. I'll see you on the Patreon Discord in about 5 minutes. But no, Jamal Lowe said it. If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
No true word. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you over on Extra Time. Cheers.